Good morning. Happy wake and bake at 2:30 in the afternoon. Did you take your pills? I hope you took your pills. And I apologize for being so late. I had a neurology appointment today. My neurology thing is going well. Mostly. My brain still hasn't grown back together. She said that does not happen. But one can wish, right? So, now that we're done waking and baking and doctor's appointments, let's read some Bible. Haha, let's read some Bible. Okay. When the impious king comprehended this situation. Okay. So, I think the king is Ptolemy, right? The king of Egypt. And God had already kicked his ass out of the temple, right? So then the people were all freaking out, right? So when the king and then he put out the letters and then nobody wanted to read his letters. So then, when the king figured out ain't nobody taking this shit, he became so infuriating that not only was he enraged against those Jews who lived in Alexandria, but still more bitterly hostile towards the ones in the countryside. 'Cause ain't nobody taking your shit. I mean, Jews, if anything, they're stubborn. And he ordered that all should promptly be gathered into one place and put to death by the most cruel means. See, this is the thing. I gotta be extra. Everybody's gotta be extra. Why? If you're just putting them all in one place, just kill them that way. Why take all this time? See, this is the problem with the bad guys, right? They take too much time. Their time management skills is what lets the Jews win so much. Even like right now, there's no timing. Like the Democrats are like, it's all on timing. It's like, yeah, because Republicans are dick fucks and don't know how to get along. That's the problem with the Republicans. Don't nobody know how to get along. Everybody's fucking jealous of everybody instead of doing the right thing. If people did the right thing, there would be no reason to argue. But anyway, so he's taking up so much time. He's like, yeah, make a bed. While these matters were being arranged. See, why do you gotta arrange a matter? You just drag them out and kill them right there. Why? Make an example, eh? A hostile rumor was circulated against the Jewish nation by some who conspired to do them ill. A pretext being given by a report that they had hindered others from the observance of their customs. Okay, so that was definitely a Gentile trying to tell on a Jew. Because the Jew would have used word magic. The Jews were like, yeah, what the fuck do you know? It's alright. So, the Jews continued to maintain goodwill and unswerving loyalty toward the dynasty. The Duck Dynasty? No, it's not, Nikki. Shut up. But because they worshiped God and conducted themselves by his law, they kept their separateness with respect to foods. For this reason, they appeared hateful to some. That's their problem now, too. Only they do it to your face. We're different than you. Don't treat us like we're different, but we're different than you. We got our own word, huh? I hate them. I hate them because they're mean to God. And then they do shit like this. They're like spoiled only children. And they are God's only children. I get it. I get it. But they're acting like a spoiled only child teenager. And they won't stop. And then God is going to have to bust their ass at some point. Like, you're 16, sit the fuck down. It's going to happen. I feel it in my bones. But since they adorned their lifestyle with good deeds of upright people, they were established in good repute with everyone. So, there are some haters, right? But then the Jews being Jews is like, yeah, we're good guys. So, that's where we're at right now. The Jews are like, yeah, we're the good guys. And everybody's like, yeah, Jews are the good guys. Nevertheless, those of other races paid no deed to their good service to their nation, which was common talk among all. Okay, so I'm guessing like the people that was talking shit glossed over the fact that they do give a shit about their country. So they found all these red herrings to argue about. And then they was like, these guys, they don't care about the king, right? And but they were hostile and greatly opposed to his government. So they attach no ordinary reproach to them. They're like, hey, these dudes are living here and they're littering. They're making the place look bad. Right. But the Greeks in the city, though wronged in no way, when they saw an unexpected tumult around these people and the crowds that were suddenly forming, were not strong enough to help them. For they lived under tyranny. They did try to console them, being grieved at the situation and expected that matters would change. For such a great community ought not be left to its fate when it had committed no offense. Okay, so the Greeks were like, oh, what the fuck? Oh, how can we help? Okay, we're gonna figure out a way to help. Okay, we're gonna figure out a way to help because these guys didn't do nothing. And already some of their neighbors and friends, business associates, had taken some aside and promised to protect them and exert more earnest efforts for their assistance. So, help me help you. The king, boastful of his present good fortune, and not considering the might of the supreme God. Yeah! but assuming that he would he would persevere constantly in his same purpose, wrote this letter against them. Here we go. It was King Ptolemy. Okay. This is a pharaoh, by the way. So he's like, "Dear generals and soldiers, what's up? Me and the government, we're doing fine. We're chilling like a villain in the village. You know how we do. When our expectation, bleh, when our expedition took place in Asia, as you yourselves know, it was brought to conclusion, according to plan by the gods, deliberate alliance with us in battle. And we considered that we should not rule nations inhabiting Cilicia and Phoenicia by the power of the spear, but should cherish them with clemency and great benevolence, gladly treating them well, because, yeah. And when we had granted very great revenues to the temples and the cities, we came on to Jerusalem. And we went up to honor the temple. So we was trying to go in the church. And these motherfuckers, man, these people, man, they accepted our presence by word, but insincerely by deed. Because when we proposed to go to the fucking church, they were carried away by their traditional arrogance and excluded us from going to church. But they were spared the exercise of our power because of the benevolence that we've had toward all. That is not the wind kicked your ass, motherfucker. Listen, the wind did it. By maintaining their manifest ill will toward us, they become the only people among all nations who hold their heads high in defiance of kings, their own benefactors, and are unwilling to regard any action as sincere. I mean that's kind of not, no. I mean not really. Okay. But when we arrived in Egypt victorious, accommodated ourselves to their folly, and did as was proper, since we treat all nations with benevolence. Oh, aren't you a nice little guy? Oh, this guy is so nice. This guy is such a good guy. Among other things, we made known to all our amnesty toward their compatriots here. But both because of their alliance with us and the myriad of affairs liberally entrusted to them from the beginning, we ventured to make a change by deciding both to deem them worthy of Alexandrian citizenship and to make them participants in our religious rites. They don't want that. Oh, this guy. They don't want that. But their innate malice, they took this contrary spirit and disdained what is good, since they incline constantly to evil. At this time, I don't think it's evil, but now it's evil. Yeah, I could go. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Fuck. Okay. So, okay. He said it, not me. They only spurn the priceless citizenship, but also both by speech and by silence, they abominate those few among them who are sincerely disposed towards us in every situation in accordance with their infamous way of life. They secretly suspect that we may soon alter our policy. Therefore, fully convinced by these indications that they are ill disposed towards us in every way, we have taken precautions so that if sudden disorder later rises against us, we shall not have this impious people behind our backs as traitors and barbarous enemies. Facts. Therefore, we have given orders. As soon as this letter arrives, you are to send us those who live among you, together with their wives and children, with insulting and harsh treatment, and bound securely with iron fetters, to suffer the sure and shameful death that benefits enemies. See all this extra. You could just like go kill the people. Could have killed the people. Whatever, gotta be extra, told me. For when all of these have been punished, we are sure that for the good remaining time. What the fuck? When all of these have been punished, we are sure that for the remaining time of the governor will be established for ourselves in good order and in best state. But those who shelter any of the Jews, whether old children, even infants, will be tortured to death with the most hateful torments together with their families. This guy. Any who are willing to give information will receive the property of those who incur punishment. Is this what George Soros got? I bet this is what he got. Probably got something way better. And also, 2,000 drachmas from the royal treasury and will be awarded their freedom. So maybe that's what George Soros got. Some land and some money. And other things. Every place detected sheltering a Jew is to be made unapproachable and burned with fire, and shall become useless for all time to any mortal creature. This letter was written in the above form. Holy shit. Alright, 1 second. I will be right back. Okay, sorry it took so long. I was having issues with my shoes. Did I ever show you my shoes? They're sequin shiny shoes. They're so cool. They're kind of waterproof. The sequins keep them waterproof. I don't know. They're pretty cool. I love these shoes. I stole them from the lady across the street. I said, "These are mine now." So I walk around with shiny shoes. I'm sorry. I'm retarded. I know. But we're going to chapter 4, and I am just smart enough to read this. So, 3 Maccabees. So, 3rd Maccabees, chapter 4. In every place, then, where this decree arrived, a feast at public expense was arranged for the Gentiles. So they had to pay for their own party with shouts of gladness for the inveterate enmity that had long ago been in their minds was now made evident and outspoken. So they secretly hated these motherfuckers. Now they really unsecretly hate them. Okay. But among the Jews, there was an incessant mourning, lamentation, tearful cries everywhere. Their hearts were burning, and they groaned because of the unexpected destruction that had suddenly been decreed for them. Is it really unexpected? What district or city? Well, you know what? For some of them, it might have been, so never mind. What district or city? What inhabitable place at all? What streets were not filled with mourning and wailing for them? I don't know, Mac Writer guy. Hopefully you're gonna tell us. For which such a harsh and ruthless spirit they were being sent off altogether by the generals in several cities, that at the sight of their unusual punishments, even some of their enemies, perceiving the common object of pity before their eyes, reflected on the uncertainty of life and shed tears at the most miserable expulsion of these people. Yes, okay. But did the Jews feel that way about the people that David led off to be burned alive in a brick furnace, manacled and shackled together, walking into this brick oven? Nations of people. Do you think the Jews felt bad about that? Do you think they feel bad about it now? Do you think in the future, from this time, when they killed Jesus, do you think they feel bad for it? Don't feel bad for these people. Okay. For a multitude of gray-headed old men, sluggish and bent with age, was being led away, forced to march at a swift pace, by the violence with which they were driven in such a shameful manner. And young men who had just entered the bridal chamber, and young women who had just entered the bridal chamber to share merry life exchanged for joy and wailing, their mere perfumed hair sprinkled with ashes. They were carried away, unveiled, altogether, raising a lament instead of a wedding song. They were torn by the harsh treatment of the heathen. Well, when you write it like that, it makes it sound bad. In bonds and in public view, They were violently dragged along as far as the place of embarkation. Oh, the place of embarking. Okay. Their husbands, in the prime of youth, their necks encircled with ropes instead of garlands, spent the remaining days of their marriage festival in lamentations instead of good cheer, and youthful reverie, seeing death immediately before them. They were brought on board like wild animals, driven under the constraint of iron bonds. Some were fastened by the neck to benches of the boats. Others had their feet secured by unbreakable fetters. When did they get in boats? What the fuck? Okay. And in addition, they were confined under a solid deck so that with their eyes in total darkness, they would undergo treatment befitting traders during the whole voyage. What voyage? When did they get on a boat? Where are they going? What are they doing? When these people had been brought to the place called Scadia, Scadia, okay, Scadia, okay. And the voyage was concluded as the king had decreed. What? Oh, that's my alarm. That's my alarm. Oh, never mind. It does say take both pills, dumbass. It is 3 p.m. So take your pills. I'm gonna take my pills. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. Give me a second. Okay. Okay. So I don't know when the fuck they got in a boat or when the fuck they went on a voyage or even any of this. But when they have been brought to Scadia, Scadia, and the voyage was concluded as the king had decreed, he commanded that they should be enclosed in a hippodrome that had been built with a monstrous perimeter wall in front of the city. There's a ghost song called Monstrous Clock that just went through my head as I read that. But it's a monstrous perimeter wall in front of the city and was well suited to make them an obvious spectacle to all coming back into the city or to those leaving the city going to the country, so they could neither communicate with the king's forces nor in any way claim to be inside the circuit of the city. He's so fucked up. And when this had happened, the king, hearing that the Jews' compatriots from the city frequently sent out in secret to lament bitterly in the ignoble misfortune of their kin. ordered in his rage that these people be dealt with in precisely the same fashion, not omitting any detail of their punishment. Here he goes with this being extra again. The entire race was to be registered individually, not for the hard labor that has been briefly mentioned, but to be tortured with the outrages that he had ordered, and at the end to be destroyed in the space of a single day. Registration of these people, therefore, conducted with bitter haste and zealous intensity, from the rising of the sun until its setting, coming to an end after 40 days, but still uncompleted. The king was greatly and continually filled with joy, organizing feasts in honor of all his idols, with a mind alienated from truth. I know people like that. They got them vibranium skulls. It was alienated from truth, with a profane mouth, praising speechless things that are not able to even communicate or come to one's help, and uttering improper words against the supreme God. There's a song by the band Thonic. It's a supreme pain for the tyrant. I just thought of that. I'm sorry. But Thonic, they're a band from Taiwan, because Taiwan is a place. Freddie Lin, that guy's amazing. But after the previously mentioned interval of time, the scribes declared to the king that they were no longer able to take a census because of their immense number. The cockroaches at this guy. Though most of them were still in the country, some still residing in their homes, some at the place, the task was impossible. Can't do it. This guy can't do it. After he had threatened them severely, charging that somebody bribed him. Somebody bribed him. Somebody got you to tell me no. Then they said and provided that both the paper and the pens they used for writing had already been given out. They had been bribed. And like he was absolutely. And then they said and proved both the paper and the pens they used for writing had already been given out. But this was an act of invincible providence of him who was aiding the Jews from heaven. So this is like, and this is God's doing. They can't do nothing about it. I got to do a good job. So, thank you for watching. I love you, and I hope you took your pills. I am going to go load my dishwasher. Have the greatest day ever.